What's going on, world? It's your boy Kuya P. And of course, you're here. You might be wondering what's going on. That was a different intro. We had to elevate, we had to escalate, we had to keep it moving. We got to do something new, we got to do something different. So shout out to my boy Joe Carabeo with Astray Productions for getting down with me again to give you a brand new opener. And also stay tuned at the very end. We recorded a whole outro too. So check that out. We're elevating, we're moving, we're shaking things up, we're making things different. Joining me today, as you see on the screen, I got an amazing filmmaker cat, young man in the game building, and I love to see it. I'm so honored, so happy, so excited to just do this energy exchange. So hopefully we can, like, keep it moving with what we're doing in these art forms. I've got the one and only Andrew Acedo, and I hope I pronounced that right, my brother. Is it Acedo?
Perfect. Acedo, bro. You did it perfectly, dude. That's amazing. First try.
My guy. Well, thank you for the time. Let's kick this off, brother. And what I always do and what I'm gonna go into in just a second is how we kick it off, bro. Is the Dobro, the Babinka boy, the leader of the Hala Hala homies in the Center Gang. It's the legend Kuya P. ShoPowSho. Let's go with Andrew Acedo. Andrew.
Yo.
What do you represent? What tribe? Before we get into it, I love, it's all about our food. That's what kind of like how we break bread with a lot of other people and cultures. It's through the food and love, and we also we got a lot of nurses and doctors in our people, so they know it's through that. But they love our food, so I want to know what food you get off with what's your go-to when you want to just like chill. What's your go-to dish of the culture?
Dude, so I'm stuck between two, but I'm stuck between sinigang and kare kare.
Kare and sinigang. All right.
I love peanut butter. I love peanut butter. So man, when they make it a little sauce thing, that's really sick. But if I had to choose one, I'm going with sinigang. Sinigang, bro. The
freaking my guy. Sinigang gang over here. I love that.
Man, I'm craving it now.
Right? Woo. I know every single time I do my little opener, it's kind of like stuck in ever since episode 1. I was like, yeah, it's time to eat. And that's where we're eating in that first episode. People are going to be like tripping with this new intro. You just on the metro. Where's the food? We got to represent the culture. It's called business time. We're in business because we got amazing cast like you, Andrew. Thanks for coming through. Let's get going, man. You just got a premiere of your latest film at the Los Angeles Asian Pacific Film Festival. As of this recording, it's past Saturday. You dropped The Sharp Point of Time. What's the energy of that right now? What's the vibes of coming off of that?
Yeah, no, the screening was amazing, man. The vibes are, you know what the vibes are? They're spiritual. They're spiritual, man. Just being able to watch this film, such a personal film, to watch it with literally sitting next to my brother who's in the film, next to my mom who the film is inspired by, and my father who's also in it. And to watch it, with my friends and my family, loved ones, all that good stuff, man. It was unforgettable experience. I'm gonna cherish forever. And it's spiritual. People messaging me, emailing me, all that since, telling me their thoughts on the film. And it's amazing. I'm still kind of riding the wave. It's so weird when you have to make that transition back to like work and doing things that don't relate at all to like this past screening when it was the only thing on your mind for like a couple weeks, right? But it's really awesome. So happy I experienced it. It's what life's all about. You know what I'm saying, Kuya P?
Definitely. I love that for you, man. You cross that finish line. A lot of us get on the track, but we don't make it to the finish line. So shout out to you, your crew, your cast, your set family, your real family, putting yourself into the material. That's beautiful, and it's what we need, man. And I think we get the best material when we kind of take from our own life experiences. So follow up from Good Filipino Kids. I'm representing for you, showing love.
Yeah.
Before I want to dive into like your first film, I think was Good Filipino Kids. But where did The Sharp Point of Time start? Again, I know you took it from your family, and they're represented in this. And you did that, I think, as well with Good Filipino Kids. But let's talk about you, I guess, taking the lessons learned from Good Filipino Kids and getting on wax and starting this next film project, how it all kind of came together. If we could go back to that.
So The Sharp Point of Time, I mean, that was really a project that's kind of always been in me since I was really young, because for as long as I can remember, I've always known my parents were filmmakers in the Philippines. My dad was a cinematographer. my mom was a director, and they met on set making like commercials and music videos and stuff like that. And yeah, so I've always known that. And one of the great privileges of my life is growing up surrounded by great movies, right? Like, so my parents introduced me to Steven Spielberg's movies. So, just Indiana Jones and Jaws growing up, E.T., you know what I mean? And then, my mom knew Martin Scorsese. She'd bring up Martin Scorsese and stuff. I mean, it was crazy. So that was really one of the great privileges of my life, is growing up around great cinema. And then, as I, grew older, we still had video rental stores around. My mom and I would go to Hollywood Video every Friday, rent the new release. And one thing I always caught on to, what really left an impression on me, was my mom would always watch the special features behind the scenes videos of each of these films. And it's not so much her watching it, it was, I would look at her while she watched it, and she would just look upon these these scenes and stuff with such hard eyes, you know what I mean? And she would mention sporadically as I grew up that being on set really is my passion. She would just always mention that sporadically here and there, or sometimes randomly, sometimes when we're watching another BTS video of a film shoot. And so, that was a huge inspiration behind writing this. Again, this is dating back basically my whole life. It's something that's kind of been building up. And then when I moved back in with my parents, I lived in LA for a little bit for college and a little bit post grad, but then I moved back into LA. The little things that I wouldn't do, which is like when I'm washing the dishes and not putting the knife upside down, or not helping her carry laundry and stuff up the stairs, like all those things that she would, that I would just, the guilt would just kind of build within, right? And all that combined with, like, man, like, I can't even do the bare minimum. Like, I should be able to do at least the bare minimum, because look at the price she paid, both economically but also spiritually, to get here. And the things that she kind of gave up back home. I mean, the least I could do are those little things.
Yeah.
So all that coming together was a culmination of me trying to write a slice of life film, with some dramatics here and there, and my comedy and all that good stuff. So yeah, I mean, it's a script that kind of has always been in me. And but yeah, I made Good Filipino Kids first and learned a lot from that, and tried to utilize some of that. But they're pretty different movies, but also kind of the same. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
It definitely reflects our culture. I know
Yeah.
myself in both these films. I know friends and family from both of
Yeah.
these films. I think that's absolutely beautiful, and recognition to. I'm sure you're when you with your mom seeing these works, your family seeing these works, recognition of their work and their efforts that you might have thought I didn't. Yeah, I messed up not helping you with the laundry or putting the knife up, but I recognize that. I recognize
Exactly.
that. So it's
Exactly.
like a way of showing love, by our mistakes and the growth and all of that. That's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
I'm an energy guy. I'm an empath, as I think a lot of us creatives are.
Oh,
So
for
I
sure.
love
Oh, I
this
can tell,
energy.
bro. I can tell you. I love. By the way, I just want to say, man, I love your energy. I love, dude. You're awesome, bro. You do a lot of great stuff. I've watched some of your videos. You're amazing. But just really, I see in the poster it says a love letter by Andrew Acedo. I realized it's not so much a love letter; it's more a letter of understanding. Kind of what you
Mm,
just said. A letter of
yeah.
understanding that I understand. I see when I talk to you about my film set, escapades, or shooting my own movies, or my work in the industry. I see how that might make you feel. Like, I understand, so and I know why you might feel those ways, right? So it's just, as you get older, what I mean, and your father, as your kids are gonna they're gonna start seeing Pops as an actual human being, not just the guy who takes care of every problem. And you start to realize, our parents were once adults without us. You know what I mean? They
Real
were
talk.
adults without us, and filled with thoughts and flaws, and et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah, man.
Amazing. Shout out to moms. Shout
Shout
out to
out
the
to mom.
family. I love that. Love that for you. It's yeah, man. Event. It's amazing the opportunity we have as creatives to kind of reflect on the past, honor the past through our work, and also it's a similar story that there's many stories that people have, like, so they can feel not only do you kind of do that for your own therapy in a way, but it's very therapeutic for others to see this because they'll see themselves in it, and their own families love that this is here, love that it exists, and I love that you're sharing it with the world, my friend.
Thanks, bro.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
So all right, we put this on wax, pre-pro casting this. I see a lot of familiar faces in some of these works. I've worked with a couple of these people that you have in here. Shout out to them. So let's talk about the actual production. Lessons learned from good Filipino kids. We're now, in the sharp point of time. What was it like putting this all together? How long did it take? What were some of the lessons learned from the last one that you put into this, and maybe new lessons that you found out in the
Yeah.
production of the sharp point of time?
Oh man, that's a great question. One to answer the first in terms of timeline from blank page to like finished, it was about a year and a half. It was about a year and a half. And in comparison to my other films, so check this, Kuya P. Before Good Filipino Kids, I actually made two other short films, which aren't Filipino centric. They're just kind of like my own shorts. But all three of those, from those two to Good Filipino Kids, they were entirely crowdfunded. This was my first film, The Sharp
Shout
One.
out to those people that support us. I love that.
Dude, incredible, right? And it's because I'm such an empath, I guess you could say. I couldn't keep asking my friends and family, hey, keep supporting my little dream here. You know what I mean? Not little dream, but I'm saying, I felt kind of guilty constantly being like, hey, man, can you give me some money from a movie? So Sharp Point in Time was actually the first project I like entirely self-funded myself, basically, almost.
Wow.
I got some help, in another place, but it was mostly self-funded. But yeah, so from beginning to end, it was about a year and a half, which I guess the reason why I'm bringing that up is because it shortened it. It's usually a little longer than a year and a half because the
Yeah.
raising money part, it always takes longer than you anticipate. It could take months to
Yeah.
like even a year. But yeah, the sharp point in time, about a year and a half. And then I guess the lessons I learned, this is gonna be the funniest. I never answered this question before, but a funny thing is that from Good Filipino Kids to the Sharp One in Time, one of the lessons I learned is maybe I don't need such a big team. All
Mm.
right. Good Filipino Kids had a huge team. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I don't need such a big team. Let me try to get as skeleton a crew as possible. It's such an intimate story. It's such a personal story. Stars my brother, stars my dad. Like maybe let's have as skeleton a crew as possible to sort of match the energy of the film, which is intimate, personal. Now, the funniest thing, the great irony of that is maybe next time I won't have such a skeleton of a crew because man, we barely had anyone to help out on set. You know what I mean? So it's you're every project you make, you're learning for the next one, right? And so, yeah, that's one thing. It's like I learned from Good Philippines, then I learned from this. Maybe I got to find the middle ground here because, man, that was a really tiny team. And I don't know if you saw the credits, but I was the writer, producer, director, editor, colorist. I mean, I was like literally everything for it. But still, I still had a great team. But maybe have a couple more people. You know what I mean? And don't be, yeah, stuff like
Yeah.
that. So that's what I learned. Yeah. Yeah, that's one big
I
thing
feel that like on that perfectionism standpoint, like only you know what you want sometimes. You got to share the
yeah,
wealth. You got to spread it out a little bit.
exactly,
I
exactly.
feel
Get some
that.
more opinions, you know what I mean? Get some opinions,
Some real notes, because
real notes from
yeah,
real people who you trust and are brilliant, I'm just like, all right, yeah, next time.
amazing. So we're putting our personal story in there, yeah, you're doing a lot on this, both behind the camera. Let's talk about the casting, and
For
some of the people
sure.
who got involved in this, and what was that like, and getting them to portray, uh, the characters in the project.
Yeah, for sure. So the first person I want to talk about, I want to bring up in the casting discussion is Pinky Albea. She's the person who plays the mother character. That part, so that character is a Filipino mother in her 60s. Casting a Filipino actress who's in their 60s is more difficult than you think. So I put the casting call out there to backstage. I was like, all right, here's what I'm looking for. Filipino woman in their 60s. Most of the applicants you get are people in their 30s and 40s who are like, you know what I mean? Most of them are literally in their 30s and 40s. And I started getting worried. Literally, I got like maybe 20 people who apply. They're all like they just don't look old enough, right?
Yeah.
And I almost got to a point. So I asked a couple people to audition. They were great. And I almost got to a point where I was like, maybe I'm just gonna put makeup on him. You know what I mean? Maybe we'll go with the makeup and hair route where we'll just make him look older or stuff like that. I almost settled on that. And then miraculously, out of nowhere, I see on backstage someone apply who's actually in their 60s. And I looked at her profile. She's never been in a film before or like starred in a film, I believe. She was
Mhm.
mostly in like web content, like Instagram, TikTok, stuff like that. But I liked what I saw from her in those clips. I liked her energy. I liked, her range. She's able to like portray a lot of different emotions. But it really wasn't until I brought her into audition, I was like, all right, I think she encapsulates the soul of this character. And I wondered, okay, why do I feel that way? Well, because she wanted to be an actress in the Philippines. So it's kind of like it matches the character of like leaving behind a dream or having a dream as an artist over there and coming here and kind of like putting that on the shelf. And so I think she understood the character, which makes her the right fit beyond just like, oh, because not a lot of actresses are in their 60s and they're Filipino, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But beyond that, because if she wasn't right for the part, I'm not just gonna cast someone who is 60 plus and in Filipino. So I really feel like I really feel like I hit the jackpot with Pinky, and I love Pinky. Shout out to her. I want to work with her again. She was a lot of fun to work with, and she worked really hard.
Yeah.
She like hired an acting coach to help with some of the lines, help with some of the scenes. So credit to her. I don't think I've given her her due credit. She really deserves a lot of it. I thought she did a great job. So yeah, and then with Julian, the guy who plays the Joseph, he's a good friend of mine, and I knew, and he knew my family, he knew my brother, and I knew I needed to cast someone who, one, my family, my brother would be comfortable with, and he has like a certain aura about him that like he makes
Yeah.
people comfortable right away. And two, I needed someone who would match the sort of like, because here's another thing. I had a casting call for that, and a lot of people I saw, they just looked a little too young. Even if they hit
Mm.
the age, Filipinos, sometimes they just, Filipinos don't age, you know what I mean? So
That
even,
is so true, bro.
yeah, and
That's
I'm
why I
like,
knew the when you're talking about with the mom character, of course you were getting that. And oh, we could just make up a little bit or something. But no, you're young.
like
It's
you're just young. There's
you're
nothing
just
we can
young.
do. It's gonna look so weird at that point. You know what I
I
mean? Like we're
feel
trying
that.
too hard. Yeah. And so yeah, so with Julian, he's close to his 40s. And he doesn't even look that way, but he looks old enough for my
Yeah.
whole sort of like angle of like, oh my God, there's a character here who hasn't moved out yet, who's like, in his 30s. That's gonna land better than some of these other actors who are incredible, but they just look a little too young, where to me that's not gonna land.
Yeah.
So I went with Julian for all those reasons I mentioned. And then lastly, just I casted my own brother because he's a Filipino with Down syndrome, and you
Yeah.
really can't find anyone, out there. And also, I had to cast my actual brother for that part just to speak to the authenticity of it, the
Yeah.
intentionality of it.
Yeah.
Um, and one of the we were talking about the privileges we have as an artist, Kuya P, and one of them is the opportunity we have to immortalize our loved ones. You know what I mean? To immortalize these stories and immortalize our actual family members. And so, being with my brother at that screening, and I was holding his hand the whole film, and we were watching it. In my head, I was like, I'm watching him be immortalized on screen right now. Future generations are gonna see him and feel like they know him, and that means the world to me. You know what I mean? So,
Hell yeah. Love
yeah.
that.
So there you go. Those are like the top casting stories right there. You asked great questions. Check this. I've done a few interviews for like this film, and you're asking me great questions. So let's go.
I appreciate that. Nah, definitely. I love that because it's important. All of these are elements
Yeah.
that if you're a true film head, you and I are film heads. We're filmmakers.
Film
It's
heads,
like
bro. Yeah.
we got to put that energy in there. Everything is important. Love that. So, in regards, if I can now shift from the casting, obviously you did a lot of crewing, so I don't know if I want to throw too much there. I might go back to that, but the story within the film again is based on you and your experiences in
Yeah.
different respects. um I know why it's important for the Filipino story to be told, for stories about families dealing with Down syndrome, for families of mothers, fathers giving up for us. And I love that how like that DNA of filmmaking from them is in you now. All of
Mm.
that. I just love that energy. It's full circle. Why is it important for you in telling that in the sharp point of time? The story of a mother who kind of gave up and is now reflecting on that within this film, and then also the story of Down syndrome. I don't think I've really seen a Downs story within Filipino films
Yeah.
that we've received.
So it literally exactly bouncing off that is, as you're I love that I'm talking to an artist too, because you could relate. Not the number one rule, I guess, when we go to create something is to create what we wish existed, right?
Yes.
So I look, have most of I go to a lot of film festivals, and I see a lot of short films by Filipinos, and understandably so. A lot of them are truly centered on like the Filipino American experience, centered on people who are the filmmakers' age. I don't see too often. I've seen some really good ones, but not too often do I see a story that's really focused on the parent or the immigrant who came here to America, who's
Yeah.
dealing with American culture and trying to assimilate, et cetera, battling the sort of like giving up of home, giving up of dreams. Like I don't see too many of those films, and that's such an important story because we all, most of, especially for first generation, you're craving to see that because you want
Definitely.
your parents who you love to be humanized on screen. And then with the character with Down syndrome, I there's rarely any films period about characters with Down syndrome. Like there's a movie called Peanut Butter Falcon that came out a few years ago. That
Yeah.
was huge in the Down syndrome community. But that's kind of like it, like at least in recent memory, at least popular films, and
Yeah.
even like in the indie film space, I don't see a lot of films about characters with that. And as someone who, I mean, that's a huge part of my life. It is my life. Like my brother, he's 11 months older than me, so my whole life is with my brother.
Yeah.
Um, to not have seen that really anywhere in cinema history is something that like eats away at me. It's like that needs to exist somewhere because we watch movies to be validated in our human experience is part of the reason why we watch movies. Obviously,
Yes.
be entertained, but to also be validated. And so it didn't exist. And I like what your hat says. Make history now. Tell that story now. If it doesn't exist, just tell it. Like you go tell it and don't look back. Put your head down, tell that story, and there you go. You know what I mean? So that's the importance of it for sure.
Love
Yeah.
that. Love that. And why I wear this hat to inspire and entertain and
It's
educate you right
beautiful.
now. Let's make it happen.
Now, dude. Every
Love that.
procrastinator needs to see that hat, bro.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Salamat. So amazing. Again, I love that this exists because, again, we all need things to help us feel like we're seen and we're here, we're existing, and all of that. To all the great points you've made. Love that. So, how long ago did it happen, and making it production wise? And now we're fresh off the heels of its premiere at
Yeah.
the LAPP, LAAPFF laps.
Yeah.
They need a
A
good
lot of
acronym. There's so many damn festivals, but it's like
there's a lot of
with them,
fest.
it's so many letters up in that piece.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, for sure.
so yeah, what's the vibes? How long did it take to now here,
Oh
and what
man.
has been some of the feedback from the festival?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Dude, okay, so let's start with the how long has it been? I finished the film in late September, bro. So it's been a while. It's kind of something you're just like kind of sitting on it, which I feel like a lot of filmmakers kind of relate to. I mean, look, ultimately when you finish a film, you could submit to some festivals that are happening next month or in 2 months because you want to like rush a screening. But for this one, I wanted to be really intentional with where it was going to have its premiere. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I wanted to have it at a place where the other storytellers and the culture, the community is coming together who would understand you or see where you're coming from, et cetera, et cetera. So I was really intentional about where I wanted to premiere this. So I was willing to wait like 7 months. Literally, it's like 7 months because I finished it late September, early October-ish.
yeah,
So I've kind of just been sitting on it, and you know what? To me, that's actually a good idea because it kind of, as the artist, it kind of gives you a chance to kind of detach from it so when you
yeah,
do end up going to go see it with people, it's almost like you're fresh eyes yourself. You know what I mean? And
Very
and
true.
I've never really done that because usually when I make a film, I'm so impatient, right? Like with good Filipino kids, I swear we screened that like a month and a half after I finished it because I
Oh
just looked,
wow.
okay, what's the next like pretty good festival? And I just
Yeah.
and it was an amazing experience, and I don't regret it, but it's just such a different thing because I'm so once you screen that soon, it's like even more nerve-wracking because I don't know, it's just you have no idea. At least with Sharp Point in Time, I sent it out to some friends and it gave me some thoughts and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And then in terms of like what's the reaction, it's really it's been really interesting. You know what I mean? Because obviously I'm getting a lot of good praise and stuff, but also there are people who don't love the film. But I love that though. I like the whole sort of mosaic of thoughts and
Yeah.
myriad of views because I didn't. I mean, you saw the film. At least I hope I'm not. I'm not making some huge grand statement with the film.
Yeah.
It's kind of this little slice of life film where it's kind
Hmm.
of look, whatever you take from it is what you take from it, right?
Yeah.
And just all I'm kind of doing is presenting an experience, right? So
Yeah.
everything is how you take it. And it's funny because like I'd have like mothers who approached me after the screening telling me how it made them feel. I'd have children, Filipino Americans tell me how they feel, and non-Filipinos tell me how they feel, and white people tell me how they feel. It's all very different, right? So
Yeah.
a lot of white people who watched it are more focused on like the editing of it and the craft of it, right?
Yeah.
And the Filipino mothers are telling me like I thought of my own life or I thought of like my journey here. And then Filipino Americans talking to me about like, man, I remember when I got caught smoking weed. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a mixture of things, and I love it. I love. I love hearing all these different perspectives. They're all valid.
Yeah.
Whether you love the film, whether you didn't love the film, that's to me, that's all valid and it's all part of it. And at the end of the day, even if you didn't love the film, it's not like I could go back and re-edit it. You know what I'm saying?
We continue to create and we continue to build. I
Exactly.
love your
Exactly.
attitude about that. Yeah, you can take criticism as a whole, but you don't have to stay with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because again, there's varying perspectives. On everything, and you had your own intention, whether people connect with it or not. You know what I'm saying? Or take it in a different way. It's all good. At the end
Yeah.
of the day, it's about creating and sharing experiences. And I think you've done that with this film, and I can relate to it in different ways. And I see all the different points as you're saying.
Yeah.
White people would take it as this. My
Exactly.
Filipino Americans
Yeah.
about smoking
100%.
up the old aunties, the fresh generation. Yeah, we see that there with the with the mother narrative. No, that's for real. I actually remembered a question that I wanted to ask earlier, so my apologies for flipping back a little bit.
Always.
But as we're in process of making a project, right? A lot of stuff happens or doesn't happen because we lose a location or something happens, story elements don't work, and then we find a new film in post, right?
Oh man.
Was there anything that didn't make the cut from script one to then pre-pro, well, to the production and then post that you might have cut in regards to the tale that we get in the sharp point of time?
Yeah. So two things. Day one of shooting was the park scene in the beginning of the film, like near the beginning. The funniest thing is in that park, I had a whole different area of the park that we were going to shoot in, a completely different area. But once we all got there in the morning, there was literally a runners group who had that spot. Like all their water bottles, all their bags were there, and they were on their run. And that was literally exactly the spot we were planning to shoot. And so we kind of had a mini panic attack, like, okay, what are we gonna do? We ended up, I was like, I was racking my brains looking around the whole park, and what we found with that beautiful view and like kind of in the beginning in Chino Hills, shout out Chino Hills too, that's where I'm from. Um,
Shout out Chino.
Shout out Chino Hills, bro. That spot ended up being way better. It just ended up being way better. And I truly have this spiritual belief, and I don't know how this might look or how people see this, but I truly believe that however the film ends up being is how the film was meant to be. So if something happens, like it rains and you lose a location or whatever results from that is what it was meant to be, and it's always going to be better. It's always going to be better. It's like forget about where it was supposed to be. It's going to be better. It's just better, okay? Because that's what the cinema gods have. You know, the cinema gods are going, they don't want you to make your film, and you have to earn it. You have to show them you want to make your film. And that's literally how I feel, bro, on set. I'm like, all right, the cinema gods are challenging right now. I gotta work hard to prove to them they can't deter me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Anyway,
man, that's indie filmmaking, bro. That's indie
dude, indie
filmmaking for
filmmaking
real.
like crazy, bro. Yeah, I'm not making the Odyssey. You know what I'm saying? I'm making his sharp point of time. So that happened day one. And in terms of what didn't make the final cut, so one of the characters in the film, he's like the drug dealer guy. He's like one of my best friends. He's a really really funny guy. He's low key a comedian. And in the scene where he's like talking on the phone and he's like holding the rock or whatever, man, we had like minutes of like hilarious improv that he did. Like where he'd be looking at the rock, he'd be talking to the rock, he'd be like talking, he like brought up his dad, he'd be like talking about like, am I in love with him? Like, and we just kept the camera rolling, and bro, it was hilarious. It was so funny. But I just couldn't put it in because I can't put it in, man. It's like it's gonna
Yeah,
bog down the film. It doesn't add to the story. So I went with one of his more simpler like F you like moments, you know what I mean?
yeah.
But yeah, I decided to take that out. Yeah, so that was one moment for sure. I remember for sure taking out.
All good. I always love kind of like the behind the scenes, especially after you watch something. And for those people that might have just saw this at
Yeah,
LAPFF, and now they're
dude,
checking
they
out this
love it.
interview, they can get some background, information on the film. Again, everybody, the Sharp Point of Time just screened at LAPFF. If they didn't catch it, Andrew, how can are we touring this to some other festivals, and will it
Yeah.
eventually be up like Good Filipino Kids is online as well? What's your plan now trajectory after this premiere?
No, yeah, thanks for asking. No, so right now I'm awaiting some festivals. Is being considered for a festival in like June, July in LA. There's some, still awaiting those festivals. I try to be a little more selective this time with where I submitted to. With my other films, I would like mass submit. I'm trying to be because remember I self-funded this project. You know what I mean? I got to pay
Definitely.
for gas. I got to pay for gas. You know what I'm saying? So
There's money for all those submissions, man.
exactly, dude. So keep an eye out on that. Check out my Instagram, Android0107, where I'm always gonna be posting wherever it's screened. So I would love if y'all could see it in a movie theater. It's really awesome to watch it with a crowd. I think the film works to me like obviously at home by yourself, but it also like it has a different experience with a packed audience on the big screen. So please keep an eye on that. In terms of where it's gonna live after, yeah, I hope it's gonna live online somewhere after in a pretty cool streamer or like some sort of YouTube channel or something like that for people to see. But hope the festival run ends up being like maybe a year or so or like several months.
Awesome. Well, hoping the best for you, man. So everybody, if you're checking this out and you want to see the Sharp Point of Time or Good Filipino Kids, I'm gonna put the link in the description below for everything Andrew Acedo. Go down there, follow, subscribe, follow my brother so you can know when it's coming your way and you can check it out. Andrew, again, props on this, man. Love that this is making it out there and you're gonna have it going. Please, as always, you have an open invitation to come talk and promote projects. And for those that know the true ShoPowSho, and like, man, this isn't how Kuya P normally does his interviews. Usually kind of gets the background and then does some promos. I've been switching it up if you've been watching other episodes because it's also time, y'all. A lot of things are elevating and going crazy. So I've got to make sure I'm putting the time in right. But I've already talked to Andrew. We're going to have Andrew back. So this is part
Yeah.
one of the Andrew Acedo episodes on ShoPowSho. Go ahead, Andrew.
No, dude, I can't wait for that. I just want to talk to you about everything. I want to get in depth. I'm down to talk to you about films. I see on Instagram you're a critic, you're a film head, bro. I'm down to talk to you about any film, dude. I mean, we could have a whole 5-hour podcast talking about movies. You know what I mean? That's all I'm gonna
looking forward
say.
to that, my man. Yeah.
But yeah, part two, man. I'm excited for that. Thanks for this. This was a true honor, a true privilege. Thanks for allowing me to be on your platform, man. Thank you.
Definitely, of course. Before I let you go, though, I actually
Yeah.
wanted to, kind of turn it to Good Filipino Kids because I wanted to give that a little bit of time. And I'm sure we'll do that again with the fuller conversation
Yeah.
where you and I are talking about, how you became a filmmaker, upbringing, and it's in the DNA from moms and dad and all
Yeah,
that. I
dude.
love that. That energy is awesome. But when I watched Good Filipino Kids, again, I saw myself in that. Like I saw in The Sharp Point of Time. If you could just maybe touch upon that and your intention with that and then also I'll include a link in the description for people to go check it out, and so
Yeah.
they can see that when we do the full interview, we'll go into a little bit more. But just what was your energy on that? Because I just want to show that some love
Yeah,
on
man.
where that story came from you as well.
Yeah, so that film was inspired by, relationships I've been in and also just my own experience growing up, sort of battling between not being Filipino enough and not being American enough, kind of being stuck between two worlds, growing up in a very holy environment, but being thrust into a very unholy environment, you know what I mean? And my recognition of myself, and I feel like as an artist, everything you make is just an act of trying to understand yourself, right? So with Good Filipino Kids, it was my realization that have I been trying to control my girlfriends into being someone they're not? You know what I mean? To the detriment of the relationship, and also to the detriment of them, and sort of devaluing their personal identities, which is wrong. And so it's Good Filipino Kids really stem from that. And yeah, shout out that ending car scene. If you haven't seen the film, that ending car scene is really really cool. If you haven't seen the film, everyone listening, check that out. And yeah, and also, man, the Filipino. So really quick, the Filipino channel has the Good Filipino Kids on their streaming site. They took out that ending car scene. It's fine, whatever.
Oh, see,
Yeah, dude, TFC, bro.
wow.
They got all conservative on me. It's fine.
Damn, go see the real one. I'm gonna have the link
Go
in
see
the
the real one in
description.
the link. Kuya drop the real
I
link.
think shout out to Cine Asian, right? I think
I
it's
love Cine A. Cine Asian's amazing. Yeah, shout out Cine Asian. But yeah, man. So
love
that's
to
where
TFC, love to TFC, but
listen, I love TFC. I grew up on TFC.
right, same.
Dude, the Ocho Ocho dance, et cetera, bro. Like, I love TFC, but when they did that, I was like, really? It's fine. I get it though. But yeah, thanks for
Yeah.
asking about Good Filipino Kids too. I'm really proud of that film. But yeah, that's where that film stemmed from. But both films, I guess, are spiritual cousins to one another for
Oh
sure.
yeah, dude. I think you're writing. I writing from my life. I see that from my life, man.
You're a
So
fan, bro? You're a fan of mine? I'm a fan of yours, bro.
hey, I I love what you're doing, my friend. Great job. Yeah, I could see all those characters, those experiences. It's kind of like why ShoPowSho was originally born. I
Mm,
started this at the beginning of the pandemic, because I was doing all the other mainstream stuff,
yeah,
like you were doing the other projects before we started. Like, I guess you started wanted to focus on your cultural stuff, right?
yeah.
Yeah, so I thought it was just beautiful, and yeah, I wanted to give it a nod, man, because I think a lot of my audience, especially my ShoPowSho audience, where I spotlight us as Filipino creatives in no matter what industry, because I pull from everybody, primarily acting and music and stuff, because that's where we find ourselves in. But I want to get across, experience from all the way around. But yeah, it was very relatable, and yeah, I know my audience will appreciate it. So go check out Good Filipino Kids, and then if you want to see the sharp point of time, all the links are going to be in the description for Andrew Acedo. Follow, subscribe, do all the things so you can see when that's popping. Go check it out at a film festival with an audience because it's beautiful. Andrew, man, a blast. I know we could talk, and I because of time, I want to talk more, but I'm gonna have you back. We're gonna do a part two,
Part
and
two,
hopefully a part three, part four, as you continue to build in your career.
forever.
I'm gonna continue to show love and throw virtual flowers at you, man. And maybe we'll even find ourselves on a set one day. That'll be dope.
Hey, let's go.
Let's go.
100% down. Let's do it. Damn.
My guy, I appreciate your time, man. Everybody, salamat po. That's Andrew Acedo. Check him out. Links in the description below. Make sure you follow so you can see the sharp point of time, and go check out Good Filipino Kids in the links below. Let's get that up. Let's get the numbers up on that so Andrew can see that love, man.
Do it. Let's do it.
There you go. Salamat po. Andrew Acedo. I'm Kuya P. Mahal kita. Salamat. Peace. All right, brother. There's a cut.